Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're back with another video on the semi trailer and the semi tractor, which is just right there. Couple exciting things to go over in this video. First of all, we're going to go over a list of our remaining most wanted items for the tractor and the trailer. Last time we did this, you guys delivered, and we were able to identify and acquire a ton of miscellaneous pieces for the tractor and the trailer that we really needed for this restoration. Well, I'm back with one more list of our most wanted items. So hopefully you guys can figure out what we're missing, can find it, let us know so we can acquire it. We want this to be the ultimate restoration. Every detail has to be perfect. And then also, we're gonna go over all of the new goodies that we've acquired for the tractor and the trailer for the restoration. We've been getting boxes in like you wouldn't believe. So we're gonna show you some of those things, and hopefully soon we'll be able to actually get this stuff installed. So you're definitely not gonna wanna miss it. And if you are not subscribed to this channel, now would be a perfect time to hit that subscribe button as we march towards 100,000 subscribers. With your help, we can do it. All right, let's dig in. Do you want to help with the semi's restoration? Donate now to the Semi Restoration GoFundMe initiative or buy one of our awesome Semi Restoration Team shirts. Links are in the video description below. The back of the semi featured fake looking swing outdoors. In reality, the Knight Rider trailer never had swing outdoors. Those were just added there for cosmetic reasons, right? To kind of hide what was really inside the trailer in universe. So we found these fake hinges. We actually have these fake hinges, so we're good there. But what we need to find are these bars and this hardware here. Now, we do get a couple of decent looks at some of the hardware. So you can see it there from an angle, and you can see here this black bar was added later by the studio. It wasn't there in this shot, as you can see, but it was added later because when the door was down and they didn't have the ramp extensions out, this bar kept the door from getting scuffed. So this is what would hit the ground, not the rest of the door. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. So here's some, you can see a little bit of the detail. It's kind of grainy here, but thankfully through some research and help with from some other people, we found what they are. And they are these Eberhard 1969 2-point cam type door locks. All right, so take a good look. We need to find a set of these. The hardware, the handle. I think this bar in the middle is just that. It's just a bar. So we can source that pretty much anywhere, I believe. You guys can let me know if I'm wrong. But what we really need is this hardware here. And it's got to look exactly like what you see here. This is what we're looking for. Left and right side. All right, let's go back. There we go. There it is in action. Need two sets, or one set left and right of that. The corrugated metal panels seen on the semi set. I've looked through so many pages trying to find this exact corrugated metal panel, and I haven't had any luck. So we may have to have these custom made, but I wanted to throw it out there to you guys to see if maybe you guys had another idea. So just to kind of put this in scale, these panels were about 8 feet tall, and between this divider and this divider is 5 feet. Not 4 feet, 5 feet, okay? So you can count the number of repeated patterns here. There's 14 repeated patterns, and then there's, you know, an extra divot here on the side. So if we go and look at this kind of behind the scenes close-up of the panels, you can see a little bit better how it's flat, angles in, it's recessed a little bit, then angles back out, flat, in, out, and that repeats. So just to make it crystal clear, here's a very crude drawing I did of that pattern. So we've got this long area, angles in, recessed a little, angles back out. All right, patterns repeated 14 times. I have not yet calculated, you know, the size of the recessed areas and the size of the not recessed areas, but these are the panels we're looking for. We need, gosh, quite a few of them, 8, maybe 10 of them. You know, in the original semi set, these panels went the whole way to the front of the trailer. Well, we don't need to make them go the whole way to the front of the trailer because we're doing the season 2 through 4, not season 1. So in season 2 through 4, those were all covered with, you know, that tan orangish fabric panels. So we only need them for the garage area here. So if you're able to help, let us know. All right, this next one is going to be possibly a little bit tricky. So in the screenshot, you can see above the serial number plate, we have this white sticker, not sure what that is, but then above it, we've got this warning label, this red and white warning label. And, you know, we can zoom in, and it almost looks like it says warning and then maybe operation. We've got these squirrely lines here. We need to replicate this. Ideally, we're going to be able to figure out what this text says so we can replicate it properly. A viewer months and months ago found this picture on an old trailer with a similar warning sticker. Not the same, it's similar. It says warning, it's got these curly cues. It says this trailer is insulated with urethane foam, which is an organic material. The following precautions should be observed. And then it lists some observations. Now, the Knight Rider trailer, as far as we can tell, was never insulated with urethane foam. So I don't think this is what that text says, even if it's formatted differently. But the fact that the warning label has this red border and has these, you know, curly lines, just like this one, is definitely telling. So maybe you guys can dig through old pictures of trailers. I don't think this was put on specifically for Knight Rider. This was some general warning label they needed for over-the-road use of the trailer. So let's see if we can figure out exactly what this label says. All right, so this next one might be an easy one, might not. And unfortunately, we never get a really, really good look at it, but it's the coffee maker tray here. And there's something else right here. So all these pieces, all these red pieces you see in here were painted. They were not cast in red. So we have the coffee maker. It only came in, I think, white. But we have the coffee maker. We'll paint it red. But we need a tray. And we need whatever this is, but mainly the tray. So if you look, the tray is rectangular shape. It has curved edges, maybe an inch, inch and a half, maybe 2 inches tall on the side, and it's got an oval handle on this side and I'm sure on the other side. So let's see if we can find a coffee tray or just a tray that matches this criteria. So think of a coffee maker. Obviously the size of the tray matters. It's got to fit. The coffee maker has to fit in it. And just to give you some kind of perspective or idea, so from this backsplash to this edge here, we've calculated is about 16 inches. So looking at this, I'm going to say that the tray is 12 inches this way and a little longer this way. Maybe 16, maybe 12 by 16, something like that. So have at it. Find me that coffee tray. All right, guys, it's that time again. You need to stop what you're doing and power on your ears. And I'm sorry, that was pretty terrible, but this pod was just laying here and I thought, well, why not? So, okay. Anyways, it's that time again where we're gonna go over our newest Patreon flag agents, tell you their names, and answer some of our other flag agent questions. Now you might be saying to yourself, what the heck are you talking about? Let me explain it to you if you're not familiar. We have a Patreon community here at the Night Ride Historians YouTube channel. And in that Patreon community, members there, whenever you join, get the opportunity to get all of our videos early. They also receive exclusive videos that we never publish online and really cool behind the scenes photos that no one has ever seen before online. So it's just a really, really cool group that we have. There's 4 tier levels in our Patreon community, and our top tier are our flag agents. As a flag agent, you get your name mentioned in a future video, which we'll do here in a minute, and you get any questions you have answered on a future video as long as you're a flag agent. If you're interested in joining and becoming a flag agent, you can click on the link in the video description below, or right up in the top corner of this video, right this second, there's a clickable link to take you there. So I encourage you to check it out. It's a lot of fun. We're about 220 members strong, I think, as of the recording of this video. So we got a nice group there. All right, let's go over our latest Patreon flag agents. First, we have Jay Stewart III. Jay, thank you so much for joining us. We are very happy to have you here. We have Edward Zabia. Edward, we appreciate your support. Thank you so much. And finally, we have Jacob Peterson. Jacob has been a Patreon supporter of ours for a very long time. He recently increased to flag agent status. So we're going to be sending him on a mission for the foundation soon and give him a new identity, all that fun stuff. So Jacob, thanks so much for being here. All right, so we've got 5 questions, or 5, I think some of them are multiple questions, but 5 people have submitted questions this time. So let's go through them. First, we've got Nate Anderson. Before you purchased your screen use kit, were you ever looking to build your own replica? So actually I did build a replica after I had a screen use kit. I built one in, maybe 2016. I took an 84 Trans Am and converted it into what I called the ultimate Season 2 hero car replica. And it had all the little details that, you know, a lot of people maybe overlook whenever they're building replicas, but I added a lot of stuff that the studio would have added. So it was a really neat replica, but as soon as I finished building it, I sold it. And in fact, I only drove it a couple times. And for me, it was just, could I build one? Could I build it? And I did. But whenever you have an original, I don't know, I guess replicas aren't as exciting to me. But I'm so glad that there's so many replicas out there. It's amazing. Thousands maybe across the world. It's crazy. Next question, Wolfgang Tomasek. For all your research about the show, are you able to get in touch with the actors, creators who were involved during the production? Yes, we've talked to probably 90% of the surviving cast and crew members. We've talked to all of the surviving cast members, Hasselhoff, William Daniels, Patricia McPherson, Rebecca Holden, Peter Peros, and we've talked to, you know, most of the crew that we found. So yeah, we've talked to a ton of people over the last 25 years. Second question, do many of your neighbors or people living in your town know that you own so much Knight Rider history? I don't know if, probably not. I mean, obviously my family and friends know, but I'm not sure the general public knows unless they watch this channel, then they'd probably know. All right, Swiss Knight 2000. Are you going to improve the mechanism of the ramp? As I see, the ramp was very heavy, so you will use lightweight materials for the ramp. No, we are going to replicate the ramp mechanism almost exactly the way it was at the studio. And a couple months ago, we talked to the head of special effects at Universal at the time, who was one of the people that built that mechanism and built the ramp. And believe it or not, he said some of that rear ramp door was made out of plywood. Some of it. Obviously not the parts that are gonna bear the weight of the Trans Am going up and down it. But some of the skin of it was actually plywood, which is crazy. But as far as the mechanism goes, I mean, and the door, no, the door is going to have a steel skeleton. It's going to have aluminum skin on the outside, diamond plate on the inside. We're not doing wood. We are going to upgrade to make sure it's all metal. The ramps are going to be heavy duty metal with diamond plate. The ramp, the winch mechanism, all the pulleys, everything is going to be very heavy duty. In fact, we recently bought the winch that we're going to use, and it's rated for 12,000 pounds. And that door might weigh, I don't know, 1,000 pounds, 1,500 pounds. So we wanted to way overdo it on the winch just to make sure that there was no issue there, no strain. Carl Acker, my question is, were any of the screen use kits actually street legal, and any of the kits in general, were they street legal? No, they were never street legal, and they, even during production, they were never driven really on the open road. They put the cars on car carriers, took them to location, filmed, put them back on the car carriers, took them back to the studio. And that was a liability thing, but also the cars in general were not street legal, certainly not for California. I mean, with the blackouts and the gull-wing steering wheel and lack of front turn signals, you know, all those things. So they were not street legal, and really they're not street legal now. And the cars that we have never have ever been driven on the open road anyways. Well, except for that one time I let Jay Leno drive one of the cars on the open roads in Burbank, but it's Jay Leno, right? That was the only time that car probably in its lifetime has been driven on a public open road like that. But yes, we never drive them on an open road. They're transported via enclosed car trailers to their destinations and only driven under controlled circumstances. And we have 2 of the 5 cars. Both of those are in that situation. 2 of the other cars are in museums, so there's no worry about that. And 1 car is over in Europe. And I don't know how much. I know it has seen some street use, but I don't know how much. All right, Sean Berry. Do you know what happened to the original season 1 and 2 insert dash from the soundstage? That's his first question. Unfortunately, no, we've heard rumors. My gut tells me it does still exist and it's out there, but I have nothing to base that on. So, you know, maybe that one person out there who has the insert dash will see this video and contact us. So please do. KnightRiderHistorians@gmail.com. And the second part is, when the restoration is done on the semi, is it your intention to drive your screen use kit around in the back of the trailer? I'm sure it will get hauled in the trailer. It won't be a permanent thing. I mean, I have an enclosed trailer for it, but for certain situations, I can see it being transported in the trailer, which would be really cool. And I guess that's all the questions. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope for those of you who submitted questions, hope I answered them to your satisfaction. Again, if you are interested in becoming a Patreon flag agent, link in the description below. We would love to have you. All right, let's talk about this. We've mentioned this in a few previous videos. We've been calling it a unistrut. Not sure that's the actual manufacturer of that particular piece, but the purpose of that's original. You may remember there was a wall here, and that was a guide for the winch cable for the rear door. As you can probably see, it was cut right here. This guide originally went like all the way down there. I'd say another 20 feet, 15, 20 feet, and stopped right about here. So we need to find this exact style of unistrut, I'll call it. All the unistruts, or a lot of the unistruts I found, don't have, or do have holes in them. This one does not. This is solid. There's no holes anywhere on it. We have the measurements. You can see the unique angle of the curve, the curve of the metal underneath. We want to find that exact piece. Here's a close-up of that unistrut. We're calling it the cable guide. So you can see here, these holes were obviously drilled in later, but other than that, it's solid. And note the shape here. Note how this bottom curves around and up like that. Here's some measurements. So we've got 1 7/8 wide, and to the bottom it's like 2 5/16, I'd say, somewhere around there. 2 5/16. 1 7/8 by 2 5/16. All right, the wire guide. So factory original Dorsey, these are the wires that power the marker lights at the top of the trailer. You can see that there was a wire guide here. The original wire guide is still up there, but we are missing this stretch of it. It's plastic. We could get it 3D printed. It'd be nice if we could find some original pieces that we could get put on here, but we need, I'd say, about 4 feet, maybe 4.5 feet of the wire guide. Here is a close-up of the wire guide that we just talked about. This is a loose piece that I pulled off specifically so I could take pictures and measurements. So you can see here how the wires fit into these little troughs, and the top edge is a little, it curves in to hold the wires. That's what it looks like. Here's some measurements in millimeters. There you go. I need, like I said, 4, probably 5 feet. The more the better of this. Preferably original, but if it needs recreated, we can recreate it. And by the way, we are going to be rewiring the marker lights because, this wiring was hacked up here, and it was also hacked up on a lot of these marker lights on the sides. All this wiring should be hidden. I don't know if you can see it, but right there, someone hacked into the wiring and now it's all exposed. So we're just gonna rip all this wiring, and it's very brittle. We're gonna rip it all out and rewire all the way up there, and then it splits at the top, and you got like 50 foot on that side, 50 foot on that side. So that'll be fun. The original belly boxes. These are the original doors. Unfortunately, an owner after Universal cut in new latches for them. Those rectangular openings should not be there, so we got to get those filled back in. But we never really get a good look at the hardware on the belly boxes. But you can see here the original holes. There were pull handles here, right? And what do we got? Looks like 4 1/4 for the pull handles. And then they also had what appears to be quarter turn handles, maybe right in here, that would kind of hold that closed. I don't know if these holes are related to that or not, but it looked like they had, what was it? A handle there, and like one down there maybe. So we need to find all of those. Also, for any of you guys, I don't know, again, this was all custom made, but you know, we have these eyelets here. There's one here, there's one here, and when you look at screenshots from the show, you can see like a coiled cord hanging down right here and right here. And I'm sure that was so whenever they opened the doors, they could tie the door open basically with that coil cord. What I'm wondering is that literally just some wire that they had wrapped around there, or is that a product you can buy, some kind of a coiled cord that when you open that up, it would hook onto the door and hold it open. So I want to see if we can figure that out as well. All right, next up, these curtains. And this is it's obviously on a track there, but it's on a power track. So these were electrically operated to open and close as far as we can tell. So take note of the divider slats. Hard to tell here if they're silver or if they're actually translucent. They obviously reflect, because you can see the reflection of these schematic drawings, I think, in there, and they don't appear to be too transparent. So I'm almost leaning towards a silver. But here, now see, here's another look at them. This is from mid of season 2, right about when White Line Warriors was there, which is when that screenshot was from. And here they look tan, but clearly they're some sort of a metallic. So look, and you can see here's the wire that ran down to power them. So need to find these divider slats, preferably in that kind of metallic silver finish. Maybe one side is metallic silver for the garage area, one side is tan for the lounge area. And if we have to paint the slats, we can do that for sure. So let's find these divider slats. Okay, next up, we're going back to this screenshot for these dividers. Now, you might think that these are just literally just like black 2x4s, but they're actually not. These are metal, and these are part of a shelving system. So let me show you a screenshot here, or a photo up close of what those looked like. You can't tell in a lot of the screenshots, but this is from a behind the scenes photo, and you can see how it has these dividers in. This is the original intent of these is a shelving system so you can hang brackets in these slots. In fact, it's actually called a slotted standard system. That's what they used. And we even have a blueprint for the construction of the set. And it specifically calls these dividers the slotted standard system. If you Google it, you'll see there's all kinds of options. Well, we haven't been able to find this exact style. So if you notice, it appears to be some kind of a slightly rectangular enclosure. There's these dividers, or these slots that are cut into it that are narrow, small, and frequent. And those are all in what appears to be a slightly recessed trough in the middle. Right here in the middle, we have a screw, a flathead screw holding it all together. So we need to find a whole heck of a lot of this. We need this literally every 5 feet for the entire 45-foot length of the trailer on both sides. So we need a ton of this. If you guys can find this style, this exact style, let us know. All right, so next up, see this thing hanging down right here? It's so hard to tell. We don't get a ton of pictures of this side of the trailer, the front of this side of the trailer. But we see something hanging down here. Now, you guys, if you followed the channel, you've seen how we've already identified that there was a dual battery box that was in the back, and you can just kind of see it right here. we know that those batteries controlled the ramp extensions in the door. We also know that the winch to control the door was actually located right about here. So it's so hard to tell if this is cylindrical or if this is a rectangle. We'll look at a couple other shots, but my first thought was, well, maybe this is another battery box for the batteries for the winch. But let's look at a couple other shots here. All right, this one isn't going to provide an answer, but you can kind of see the layout a little bit better. So if you look way back here, this tiny little thing is the rear battery box. This one almost looks bigger, like it's not, not a battery box. And see, then you have this drive by here, and you can see it hanging down, and that does look rectangular, like it could hold batteries. But then take a look at this, and this is probably the most conclusive evidence that this is not a rectangular battery box. Look really close here, and you see how there's slots, whole bunch of slots, almost like this is a muffler, something like that, Now, underneath in the floor, right in this area, there actually is about a 4 or 5 inch hole that was cut in the floor. And we don't know if it was from the studio days or from before. But, part of me wonders if they had some kind of a generator in here, if they had a pipe and put the exhaust pipe down through the floor, and then, it put into this muffler, basically. And that was the exit for the exhaust gases. So what do you guys think this is? Do you think it's related to something on the exhaust side? Do you think it's related electrically to a battery or whatnot? We'll get under there, and I'll show you the cutout and see if there's any other clues under there. All right, so that weird vented thing was right here. So if we go under here, let's see what we can see. You see that? See that opening? That's a plug. See? It's just sitting in there. So that's why I kind of wonder if that was an exhaust pipe coming out and that vented thing was like right here, or the muffler or whatever it was. I don't see any other mounts except this is factory Dorsey, this bracing. It's part of the one leg there, but there's a hole here and there's not a hole on the other side. So I wonder if that was maybe part of the mounting, and there is a hole here. There's a hole here as well. I don't know if you can see that there. So maybe that's what that was. Maybe that was a muffler. What do you guys think? All right, take a look at this screenshot from KITT versus car. There's that vented thing again, and when you look at it here, it doesn't look round. It almost looks almost like an oval shape, right? With sharp edges, but clearly it's vented. I mean, there's slots here. What is that? All right, so next I want to talk about this right here. Because at first I thought, well, this was just an outlet that was added in after the show ended. And we ripped it all out, and I put some tape over it, like so, right? Let me peel that back a little bit. And then I started realizing, well, maybe this was more than just an outlet here. So let's take a closer look. Before I realized that this was maybe just more than an outlet after the show ended, I went ahead and made patch panels. And what I did was I put a piece of paper over here and I traced from behind, then I cut it out of metal. So that's like a perfect fit patch panel. And we can get our welder out here, and he's gonna weld these panels in. We'll smooth them out. You'll never know that anything was there. And I also made patch panels, all these funky shapes you see here. these are all for all of the single outlets along the top that were cut out. So we have patch panels for all of these, which should make the job a little bit easier. But one thing that I recently noticed, which is making me question specifically this hole right here. One of the things I noticed is on the show, when you see this side of the trailer, it's very rare you see this front part of this side of the trailer. It's only in drive-bys and different things like that. But I noticed there was something here. And it's just too blurry to figure out what was there. Originally I thought, well, maybe they actually did have an outlet here and this was an original outlet, but whatever's there seems to be smaller than this. There was a double outlet here. It seems to be smaller. So I'm not sure what actually they had there, but they definitely had something there. And in fact, if we come in a little closer, you see these round, I'm positive those, oh, you know what? Never mind. I'm not positive. Those are just, see, I'm figuring this out as I'm talking. Those are just the marks from the outlets that were here. But this is black, which tells you the outlets were there when the vehicle, or when the trailer was black. But there was something here. So I'm starting to think, you know, maybe we don't patch this one. Maybe we put a double outlet back in here. I mean, whatever was on the show was painted black, and I don't think one of the stripes, let's see, one of the stripes was here. I'd have to look and see if any of the stripes would have covered that, but I don't think so. But maybe we just put a double outlet back in there, because I think it'll be handy anyways to have an outdoor outlet. And we know there was something here. So until we figure out what it is, maybe we just leave this alone, put a double outlet back in there, paint it black, and that'll be that. So take a look at the screenshots. What do you guys think was here? Was it an outlet? Was it something else? I don't know. This, whatever this is, has been on this trailer since the very start of the series. Or very close to the very start of the series. Obviously, we won't see this in the pilot, but when this trailer was white in the first 12 episodes, we see this right here. Now, the question is, what is this? I doubt it's just a sticker. Today, if we were to go out here and look, there's actually a dual outlet here, an electrical outlet that was cut into the trailer. Now this looks too small to be that dual outlet. And I was trying to figure out if maybe they had a single outlet here and that provided, you know, exterior power for whatever reason, or if this is something else. And I know this isn't much to go by, but the bolt is right here, and here is whatever this is. So we need to try and figure out whatever this is. Now take a note how, see this round reflector here? It is directly above the round reflector. So let's go out to the trailer and take a look at this exact area and see if we can deduce anything. So I gotta say, it's really cool to be able to, you know, look at something on a screenshot and then literally walk outside and have that same thing here to compare. So, remember the mysterious thing I was telling you about that was right in this area? I said it was right above this reflector, right? Directly above it. Well, you go directly above it, and I'm not taking this tape off again, but this right here is the cutout for where they had a double outlet. And, you know, I assumed that this was added after the show ended, but I mean, literally, it's like right up the opening. So now I'm wondering if there actually was an outlet here when the trailer was being used on the show. I kind of hope the answer is yes, because it would be really nice to have an excuse to put an outlet back in here for power on the outside. We've got a new feature across the Knight Rider Historian's YouTube channel, Super Thanks, not to be confused with Super Pursuit. With Super Thanks, you have the option to post a distinct, colorful, and fully customizable comment in our videos comments section. This shows the world that you are a super Knight Rider fan and will stand out amongst the sea of comments that we receive. Go ahead, give it a try. And every Super Thanks gets a super response from us. Press the thanks button. Just don't press the turbo boost. We are still looking for an original horn assembly for our 1984 GMC General. Now, we mentioned this in a previous video. We think that this assembly, we pretty much know that we're missing some pieces here. And this disc, this trim ring, this cup piece, and this horn button are all one assembly that originally went together, and there's some guts missing from it. Now, the problem is our GMC General came with not the standard steering wheel, but a deluxe steering wheel. It was an option that year. And this horn assembly is unique to that specific steering wheel. So that's what we need to find. It's got to look just like this. We do have the GM part number for the entire assembly, which includes all of these pieces. These don't have original or individual part numbers. Now, I'm not talking about this hub, and I'm not talking about this piece. I'm just talking about these 4 pieces, and we think there was a spring inside and maybe a couple other things. So it's GM part number 15518701 that we're looking for. And this is the steering wheel. Now, this is a picture from when we first found the truck, so it looks much better than this. But this was the first picture I could find. But this is the deluxe wheel I'm talking about. It has 4 aluminum spokes. I think the standard wheel might have had 3 spokes, a little bit different. And then that's the horn assembly. That's the horn assembly we need for this specific steering wheel. So it's probably going to be a matter of finding one in a salvage yard somewhere, but we need this horn assembly. Also on our list is a new Dashpad surround for the General. No one recreates these. Most of them are cracked. We may have to send this one out to be repaired if possible. I know a number of you people have recommended just dashes out in California, and that might be an option for us if we can't find a nice original one. But you can see here, it's cracked on the side. We've got cracks on the top here as well. One there, one here. So we did clean this one up and paint it, and it's in there for now, but we would love to find a nice original dash pad. This dash pad is not just the top. It actually curves around. It's not this piece on the driver or on the passenger side. This is a hard plastic. You can see the divider right here. So it's a softer material. It goes all the way down around the instrument panel, through here, around the bottom, and up top. That's all one piece. That's the piece that we need to find. All right, guys, I wanted to take a moment once again to show you our latest semi-donor wall supporters. As you can see, there's a ton of names here, 250, 300, somewhere around there. It's been ridiculous, but we're so thankful for all of you guys who have donated, because without you, I'm not sure we could do this. We could get this trailer and tractor restored. So thank you guys very much. For those of you who aren't familiar, what we're doing here is for a donation of $100, you get your name put on a plaque on the semi-wall. Now, this is not the plaque. This is a way out of control, handwritten or typed list of all the names. Never in my wildest dreams did I think we'd have so many names. So think of this as a placeholder. Whenever we close our donation window, we're going to take all these names and we're going to get them engraved on a really nice plaque that's going to be mounted permanently inside the trailer. So for all of time, your name will be associated with the trailer as someone who has supported our restoration. If you're interested in getting your name, the donation window is still open. If you're interested in having your name added to the semi donor wall, all you have to do is send $100 in to us and we'll get your name added. A couple ways you can do that. You can do it through PayPal, nightridersemi@gmail.com. We also have Venmo. We can do money orders, all kinds of things. If you need an alternate way to pay, just give us an email, shoot us an email, nightridersemi@gmail.com. and we'll make sure we can accommodate you. So nightridersemi@gmail.com for PayPal or any questions you have. All right, thank you so much again for all your support. So have you guys ever, I don't know, like worked on a project and, you know, you're following kind of a list either in your head or on paper of what you need to do, and then things kind of escalate and get out of hand? Well, that's kind of what just happened here with the trailer. All right, so let me explain what you're looking at here. I figured the trailer's white, it's gonna get soda blasted. And at some point down the road, we're going to need the graphics. So I thought, well, now's probably a good time to lay out the graphics so I can make templates. Because it is white, because it's gonna get soda blasted, you know, I can draw on it, I can erase marks, I can move things, I can get it perfect. So I did that and I got it all drawn out, and then I thought, well, you know, it'd be really easy to, you know, lay tracing paper over this if the stripes were actually black. So I went ahead and I quickly masked it off and spray bombed it. I didn't bother, you know, doing a super detailed job because it's all coming off again. I just needed the crisp lines where I could, you know, make some templates. So I spent way too much time poring over original screenshots, counting rivets, holding protractors up to the screen to get angles. Every detail is perfect on these. This is obviously the most difficult part. We're not going to talk about the shield. This is the most difficult part. The rest of these stripes are all just, you know, that's a 3-inch solid stripe. That's a, I think, 2 1/4 inch. So the rest of that's easy. This was tricky, and the front is going to be a little bit tricky too. But I mean, when I'm talking perfect, I mean, like, you can see these rivets on the show and you can see that the gold stripe just barely touches the bottom there. You can see that the gold stripe goes on the top of the rivet here and under this rivet. This one, it's split halfway between. I got every detail correct. If these are off at all, they're off by like a millimeter. I mean, they're really, really good. So now that I got this part done, now I can lay tracing paper over it, get it, get all of these, you know, these angles, all of this traced out for the eventual vinyl shop that's going to recreate these. No, we are not painting these on. The original trailer in the show had all vinyl decals. That's what we're doing. We're replicating that. So I do still have to do the other angles up here, which are different. And these ones are going to be a little bit trickier. I started to kind of draw them out in pencil a little bit. So you can see here, that's the top stripe, it curves down, but then it turns right here. But the other stripes actually go down here onto this piece. So it's going to be a little trickier to get this one, but I'm looking forward to the challenge. But once I get those two, the rest of it is, you know, pretty easy and straightforward. So it's just really cool, you know, to actually see, you know, even though they're spray painted and they're black and not gold and the trailer's white and not black, it's still really cool. Really, really cool to see that. All right, guys, little sidebar here. You know, we're talking a little bit about the graphics, the vinyl graphics that are going to be applied to both the trailer and the tractor. If you guys out there know of a really good vinyl shop that wants to take on this project, please email us at nightriderhistorians@gmail.com. We'd love to connect with them and see if it's something that, you know, a project that they're interested in working on. Vinyl shops in the USA only, please. And they have to have the ability to print or to cut vinyl that's really big. I mean, the shield alone on the side of the trailer is, I think, 50 inches by 52 inches. That's probably going to be the biggest piece, but the stripes on the side of the trailer, we're pretty much going to do stock rolls of vinyl in the correct width, and then we'll lay them out, and just the edges we'll have to cut. I think that's going to be the easiest way. So we're going to need rolls of vinyl up to 35, 40 feet. So we have to have a shop that can cut a width of vinyl and then give us like a roll of it as well. So if you know someone, if you have a vinyl shop, certainly we would love to chat with you about this project. All right, back at it. Let's start going over some of the parts we've been getting in for the mainly the tractor restoration, because we're really trying to get the tractor like done this year. In fact, within a month of this recording, fingers crossed, the tractor will be completely mechanically sound, roadworthy, new tires, everything, and it'll be ready to head off to paint, which is really exciting. So let me just show you some of the cool stuff that we've got in. And take note of the wiring diagram. I decided to adorn my garage wall with it. Don't those look awesome? They really turned out nice. I do have a couple extra sets if anyone is interested. All right, so the first in our goodie bags is this deck plate. Now, it might not seem that impressive, but on the tractor, right behind the sleeper, there was this deck plate. And that's very common on tractors, on heavy-duty tractors. That was the plate where the truck driver could get up onto the frame of the trailer, connect the air lines, do whatever. So we found some vintage photos of the semi that showed this deck plate really well, enough for us to find an exact replacement. So that's pretty cool. So this box here is filled with belts and hoses and all kinds of stuff. So I have to give a shout out to Dean Hansen. Dean is a fan of the channel, fan of Night Rider Historians, and Dean graciously donated all of the belts and all of the hoses we need for the GMC General, which was just absolutely amazing, and I can't thank him enough. It was a really huge help. Some of the belts on the track, I mean, all the belts are decades old. Some of them, though, are like really bad, but we decided we're just going to replace them all. And Dean bought every single one. I think there were 7 belts, a bunch of hoses, so we're in good shape. We're going to get all this stuff swapped out here soon. All right, and then we've got this box of goodies. So this is a hodgepodge of stuff for the General. These are the mud flap brackets that go on the back. So mud flap brackets, we have 2 of those. We've got our cable to hook up the electrical from the tractor to the trailer, so that's kind of important there. We've got our coiled supply and emergency air lines. And the neat thing is, I mean, blue and red are pretty standard, but we did confirm. We found, again, looking at screenshots and pictures, we can see that they used blue and red air lines, so that's consistent. And then just little things like the connectors we need. These are the ones on the trailer. That air hose will hook into here, and then these will snap in, and that's how they connect to the trailer. So we got 2 of those as well. All right, so next up is this giant box, which I'm not going to take this out, but it's really heavy. Muffler. We ended up getting a replacement muffler for the GMC General. The muffler that is on it is the original muffler that it came with from GMC in 1984, which is crazy. Originally, we were going to reuse it, but the pipe, there's a pipe, the exhaust pipe that comes from the engine to the muffler is totally shot. It's all rusted through. We had a replacement one made, but I went to try and take the original muffler off, and the muffler and the pipe is so rusted, and they've kind of fused together. And then I looked down inside the original muffler, and it didn't look that great. And I thought, well, it's 40 years old. We should probably replace the muffler. So we're going to put a new muffler on it as well. So pretty much the entire exhaust is going to be brand new. So we got that. All right, so in my disaster of a workshop, I have, this is the air cleaner for the General. When I took it apart, and I did a video on this many moons ago, I opened it up, and this is the air cleaner for the inside. And I don't know if you can see the date on there. September 11th, 1987. This air cleaner is from 1987. What I think is, obviously this wasn't used on the show from 1987, but my guess is whenever the studio was done with the truck, they sent it back. And as part of a routine maintenance, they changed out the air filter and did all that stuff. They would have sent it back in late 87, early 88. So my guess is this was added as soon as it was done being used by the studio, right before it was sold off for private use. This air cleaner is filthy. I took compressed air and I was blowing it out, and there was dust everywhere, and there's still dust. So we thought, well, it's probably better to just replace that as well. So I actually found a new old stock air cleaner, same brand, same everything. So we're going to install that as well. And then you know what these are? These are all the original, the bolts that were on the side of the trailer that were added for the ramp mechanism. There were reinforcement plates added, so the head of the bolt, which is much smaller, wouldn't rip through the aluminum side of the trailer. So these are recreations of the backing plates that all the bolts had. So we got the ones we need here for the winch wall up front. These smaller ones are for the pulley in the back of the trailer. And this is for the triple, the 3 bolts in the center of the trailer, right where the cross member will go, that will convert the 2 cables. It'll bring them to the center and turn it into 1 cable. So we got all the backing plates. We got all these laser cut, all ready to go. Alrighty, folks. Well, that's what we have today. So again, if you are able to figure out any of the missing pieces that we need for the tractor or the trailer, shoot us an email, nightriderhistorians@gmail.com. Put it in the comments below. Figure out some way, smoke signal, whatever. Let us know so we can acquire it. All right, much more to come on the Semi. This is going to be a big year for it. The weather is starting to change. Spring is almost here, which means we're full steam ahead on getting this project moving once again. As always, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.